Nikke Goddess of Victory has one of the best video game stories I've ever experienced. You're watching part 5 of a lore series meant for both newcomers and veterans alike. I'll be blazing through the main story at an accelerated pace, with a spoiler section at the end to discuss more juicy details. If you like this content, please consider signing up as a channel member. It's by far the best way to support us. Quick correction on something I covered in the previous episode. I accidentally said that Guillotine's friend Chloe was killed by an irregular Nikke she let get away. While it's true Chloe got attacked, she didn't actually die. Instead, she's been stuck in a coma. It still remains that Guillotine maintains her Chunibyo persona in Chloe's honor. This becomes relevant in the Ice Dragon Saga event, which I might get to one of these days. Last we left off, the commander discovered that Area H has been made into a giant rapture ant colony. They're up to something big, and so Andersen and the Big Three CEOs have arranged an all-out assault. Part of this operation involves chasing Marian, aka the heretic Modernia, out of hiding. We've got our hands on a Vaphaus bullet, which can destroy the nanomachines in Nikke's body. It's a long shot, but this bullet could help us cure Marian's corruption, or otherwise eliminate her. The commander's got one chance to appeal to her inner Nikke. Many of the ARC's other squads have signed on for this mission, and are meant to help the counters reach their meeting with Marian. Given their own corruption, Matisse isn't able to participate, but Absolute and other squads assault the base ahead of us. Eventually, Modernia is drawn out, and we need to cross rapture-infested terrain to contact her. Helping us in this endeavor is Infinity Rail, Elysian's trained security squad. They've come with their masterpiece, the AZX, to pick us up. Infinity Rail's leader is Diesel, a compassionate woman whose kindness stems from prior loss. In the ARC, she guides lost passengers and always carries around strawberry candies for the children. She once aspired to be a pop star, but is unfortunately tone deaf. Even so, she always puts on a smile, even if it's painful. This pain stems from her past life as a human. Back then, Diesel and her squad mates were on board the ARC's train, the AFX, when it was bombed by the terrorist organization Heavenly Ascension. She, Brid, and Soline were brought back to life as Nikkes, but the same couldn't be done for her little brother, who also died from the attack, along with 500 other civilians. I may have accidentally confused the AFX with the AZX, which are two different trains. The AFX is underground, while the AZX operates on the surface. In either case, Diesel and her squad oversee the railway system, ensuring such a disaster never happens again. The ARC holds an annual memorial for the deceased, yet Diesel can't seem to bring herself to attend. She always winds up oversleeping, and even when her teammates tried dragging her there, she fainted on sight. It's clear that Diesel still hasn't gotten over her brother's death and is afraid of reliving it at the memorial. She notes how the commander resembles her brother and how they'd be the same age had he survived. She tries having the commander call her Big Sis, but actually hearing it distresses her. Nonetheless, the commander accompanies Diesel on a date, reenacting what she and her brother would have done that day if not for the attack. This includes finally trying the Choo Choo Splendimin candies her brother wanted. With the commander joining her, she gains the courage to visit the memorial and pay her respects. To show her resolve, she kisses the commander, having fallen for his charm. Attending the memorial wasn't her only hiccup. Diesel planned to give her brother a toy train that day, and she still has it as a Nikke. However, she's never had the courage to assemble the playset and let the train run its route, afraid it might derail. Yet again, being with the commander lets her overcome her trauma, which had derailed her heart. Brid was the AFX's human conductor at the time of the bombing. While there's not much she could have done, she still feels guilty over the outcome. That hasn't stopped her from retaining her job even in Nikke form. Instead, she's become a workaholic, never taking a vacation. She doesn't see the need to, and would rather be as efficient as possible. It doesn't help that she has no hobbies to speak of, and feels vacationing would be a total waste of her time. The commander takes it upon himself to help Brid develop a hobby. It's not the most exciting thing, but she does enjoy coffee, so they make a habit of sampling the station's various offerings. This becomes a nice tradition, until the commander learns that Brid hasn't been able to sleep for the past 10 days, and it's affecting her ability to respond in an emergency. Her instinct is to call off their coffee hour, but the commander instead volunteers to help her with work in order to free up their precious time. Brid appreciates the gesture so much that they start spending that free time kissing and doing other things. Aha! Another one for the naughty list. That makes 6 now. Soline is a child at heart, but the thought of being treated like a child upsets her greatly. Thus, she strives to put on a mature front and compensate for her small build. When the stresses of her job weigh her down, however, she doesn't mind gobbling down candies the commander gives her. Soline means well, but her inexperience on the job leads to enough small mistakes that she's suspended from duty. This triggers trauma from her human life. During the AFX bombing, she was caught under debris that broke her legs. Onlookers noticed her in distress, but did nothing to help her. The bastards called her useless and left her to die. Now she's horrified of being seen as a burden or failure. Thankfully, the commander's not like that, and promises to stick with her even if her legs are broken. She's not useless, but even if she were, he wouldn't abandon her. Soline still wants to be more mature, but doesn't mind embracing her childish whims when he's around. Unlike its ARC counterpart, the AZX isn't so fragile. It charges through the raptures, trampling everything in its path. They run over a Lord-class rapture and treat it like a mere speed bump. The only thing that can rival Infinity Rail's maglev masterpiece is AZX Mark 6, a corresponding rapture train that attacks en route. Ironically, this bad boy was made by Heavenly Ascension, but they abandoned it on the surface for raptures to modify and appropriate. We neutralize the threat, but it damages the AZX to the point where it's no longer safe to operate. Reluctantly, Diesel admits this is as far as she can take us. We're still 2 kilometers from Modernia, and Chatterbox is hell-bent on halting our progress. Luckily, he's none of our concern. Eager to kick his ass all on her own, Snow White enters the fray. Chatterbox doesn't want to let us pass, but has no choice when he's struck by a motorcycle. Sugar, from the Cafe Sweety squad, has come to transport us the rest of the way. Even though Tetraline's focus is the entertainment industry, it still has its share of powerful Nikkes. Chief among them is Cafe Sweety, a trio of mercenaries who accept dangerous missions while operating a humble coffee shop. Sugar, as her name implies, sells sugary coffee at the cafe. Ludicrously sweet, enough to make your teeth fall out. She's an aggressive gearhead who adores her motorcycle, Black Typhoon. Her life as a human isn't well known, but it's clear she has ties to the Outer Rim. Sugar's not proud of her past, as she used to work for a nefarious figure going by the name Sixo. There's lots to say about this criminal mastermind. Nobody knows what Sixo really looks or sounds like, but she dominates the ARC underworld as the curator of its dark net, where all manner of illicit transactions take place. Sixo plays a major role in later chapters, but for now, it's important to realize she employed Sugar as a dealer. During that time, Sugar committed deeds that still haunt her. Escaping Sixo's grasp isn't easy, but she managed to pull it off before joining her current squad. Given her background, Sugar feels adept in handling Cafe Sweety's dirtier jobs. She's come to find a suitable partner in the commander, as he isn't afraid of dealings in the Outer Rim. One of these jobs involves procuring coffee for a mass-produced Nikke who's about to be deployed in an Outer Rim civil war. This client wants to rekindle the memory of sharing a coffee-flavored kiss with her lover, just in case she dies in battle. The ARC's artificial coffee won't do, so Sugar has to hunt down the genuine article. Too bad she's broke and can't afford the going rate. After an entire ordeal finding coffee beans on the surface and rescuing their client mid-battle, Sugar and the commander complete their mission just before the poor mass-produced model dies. This incident has Sugar wanting to share her own coffee-flavored kiss with the commander, and after a job well done, he finally complies. As expected, her lips taste of brown sugar. While she doesn't make it on the naughty list, it's cute just how much she wants to make out and smooch all the time. The other members of Cafe Sweety don't appear in the main story, so this is really the only chance I have to gush about my personal favorite Nikke, Milk. She's a hot-headed tomboy brawler who will clobber anyone who talks bad about milk coffee. For as strong and aggressive as Milk is, she's actually a coward. By that, I mean she tends to only take on jobs she knows she can complete with ease. The fear of losing has her back away from any meaningful challenges. At least when she does fail, she's willing to set things right. To rectify a botched job, Milk and the commander find themselves at the Under Arena, an illegal Nikke fighting ring. She needs to win an underground tournament and boasts about her undefeated record in hand-to-hand combat. However, it's promptly revealed that her record is only spotless because she avoids fighting anyone stronger than her. A loss in the first round breaks Milk's confidence, and the commander starts sparring with her so she can push beyond her limits. By taking each opponent on with practice, care, and strategy, Milk overcomes what she thought was beyond her means. She ultimately loses the tournament to the same opponent who beat her in the first round, but she still improved by leaps and bounds, overcoming her fear of failure. The commander becomes someone through which she can confront herself, and he in turn steals a kiss. Unlike herself, she admires his unwavering resolve. Romancing him becomes a whole other challenge she takes on while flustered. In her favorite item arc, she wants to learn everything about the man she loves, and it's implied that everything includes what would land her on the naughty list. It's not as overt, but I'll allow it. This game really straddles its 12+ age rating on the App Store. Frima is actually the leader of Cafe Sweety. No matter how much coffee she drinks, she has an uncanny ability to fall asleep in just 3 seconds, given she has both a couch and eye mask. Unsurprisingly, Frima is exceptionally lazy, and this turns into a drive to complete her jobs as quickly and efficiently as possible. Frima was a mercenary in her previous life. Back then, she and her allies would diligently prepare for every job, only to wind up dead anyway. Because of this, she sees effort as a bad omen. Sleeping all the time is literally part of her personality. This becomes a problem when she suddenly encounters a fit of insomnia. There's a legitimate worry that if she can't get back to sleep, she'll suffer a mind switch. The commander and her squad mates try a number of things to lull her into slumber, such as a death metal lullaby and a food coma. In a silly attempt to install wheels onto Frima's sofa, Senti informs us that said couch is at a .003mm tilt. After correcting this minor slope, Frima instantly passes out. Seriously? That's all it took? Why not just sleep on the floor next time? It seems there's more to it. Frima's favorite pillow is also required for a good night's sleep, and in the process of repairing it, the commander embroiders it with her name. Presumably, Milk and Frima are fighting in this operation elsewhere. Sugar is somehow able to fit the commander, Rapi, Anise, and Neon all on her bike. She nearly takes us the rest of the way, but Black Typhoon runs out of fuel 300 meters from our destination. Sugar stays behind to buy us time, confident that the counters will pull through. Our initial attempts to convert Modernia fail, forcing us to fight her in her rapture armor. She then gets the idea to trick the commander by acting like she remembers him, luring him in with the chance to retie her loose bandage. Rapi isn't so gullible, prompting Modernia to stab her with a tentacle. Just like Material H, Modernia tries to absorb Rapi, but it doesn't work. Hoping to save Marian, and left without any other choice, the commander fires off the Vaphaus bullet. His aim is impeccable, but sadly, Modernia catches the bullet between her teeth and spits it out on the ground. Enraged that the commander would actually shoot at her, Modernia retaliates by stabbing him in the stomach. Seeing us bleed out from the abdomen, Rapi decides to engage a secret weapon she's been hiding up until now. She activates a system called Red Hood, which causes her eyes and hair to blaze crimson. Effortlessly, Rapi rips out the tentacle piercing her body and hurls it back with enough speed to break the sound barrier. The tentacle fragment smacks Modernia in the face, forcing her to emit more of that black aura we saw earlier. The commander loses consciousness for a moment, having another dream about the little girl he met in the hospital. Despite his own life expectancy, limiting him to 30 years at best, he declares his desire to save Nikkes and be surrounded by beautiful women. What a Chad. Being struck in the face somehow snaps Marian to her senses. Is it a coincidence? She sees the commander and immediately tries tending to his wounds. She works with the counters to return us to a stable state, though we'll still need a blood transfusion back at the Ark. Even though she never let the Vophouse bullet penetrate her, it seems Marian has been cured of her corruption. Just when it seems like we've succeeded, however, our hopes are dashed. Chatterbox, more like his dismembered torso, comes falling from the sky. He endures oncoming fire and collides with Marian's head. Undoing all of our hard work, this corrupts Marian a second time. Proud of himself, Chatterbox laughs defiantly until Anise stomps his head into a bloody pulp. We were so fucking close! Where did this bastard even come from anyway? Snow White tries to apologize for not finishing Chatterbox off, but Anise ignores the sentiment and strikes her across the face with a haymaker. Snow takes it remorsefully. While we succeeded at apprehending Marian, her brain is still in a bad state. More urgently, the commander is rushed to the hospital, where he's treated by Mary and Pepper of the Seraphim squad. Again, now's as good a time as any to cover their stories. For those who obey her instructions, Mary is seen as an angel in white. However, when her patients misbehave, she doesn't hesitate to sedate them with an intimidating metal syringe. This has branded her another nickname, the Black Devil. Similar to cops, it seems she implements a good doctor, bad doctor strategy. This matches her current drive to save lives in the wake of her dark past. As a human, Mary was willing to do whatever it took to save her patients, even those suffering terminal illness. Where medicine would fail, Mary stepped up to turn her dying patients into Nikkes without their consent, even though it meant condemning them to a life of servitude. This had her forging death certificates and illegally selling her patients' brains to Nikke manufacturers. When she herself died, Mustang had Mary turned into a Nikke as punishment, to have her suffer the same fate as her patients. Mary's Bond story with the commander deals with her former collaborators contacting her under the alias Black Box. They plan to kill her, along with all proof of their involvement. She survives, with the commander vowing to help cure her past sin. Ultimately, she's glad to have him as an accomplice, especially as she tries to make amends. Mary's squad mate Pepper happens to be the one who killed her. They worked at the same hospital when they were both human. As a nurse, Pepper was horrified to learn of Mary's crimes, and wound up pushing her down a flight of stairs. It was a sudden reaction that she immediately regrets. Pepper found it unforgivable that she, who had pledged to save lives, claimed the life of a fellow doctor. Unable to forgive herself, she spiraled into despair, ultimately ending her own life. Whether it be part of her conversion into a Nikke, or simply her own trauma, Pepper locked away these memories, allowing her to work alongside Mary at the repair center and hospital. She admires Mary's dedication, blissfully unaware of their prior altercation. Of course, Mary remembers what happened, and doesn't blame Pepper in the slightest. Rather, she's afraid Pepper will one day recall those repressed memories, undoing the friendship they've built. Fortunately, the two of them sense they need to forgive each other, proud to make up for past mistakes. Pepper is so diligent at her job that her own patients worry about her having a social life. To appease a particularly stubborn patient, Pepper enlists the commander as her fake boyfriend. This, obviously, leads to them becoming a legitimate couple. Now, this makes it seem like the commander makes a deep commitment to every Nikke he meets, but I personally view these Bond stories as possibilities, like in a dating sim. Rather than canonically dating all these Nikkes at the same time, I imagine these as different plot routes. Anyway, like I said earlier, the commander needs a blood transfusion. There's just one problem, though. His blood type isn't listed in any of the Ark's databases. Conveniently, Andersen enters the hospital room, offering up his blood. After making a mostly stable recovery, the commander learns from Andersen that the two of them share an extremely rare blood type. How exactly does he know this? Despite the speculation, Andersen insists they aren't related. More importantly, their blood is considered valuable, and it's kept secret so nobody comes after them coveting it. Still sore from his wounds, the commander is asked to take some narcotics and report to the MMR. Ingrid is at her wit's end wondering what to do with Marian. Still corrupted, the heretic won't stop repeating "Commander." Somehow, despite never actually shooting Marian with Vaphaus, the nymph in her brain was indeed eradicated, allowing her to come to her senses. However, when Chatterbox got to her, he implanted the corruption directly into Marian's brain. While there's no fear that she'll start obeying the Queen's orders, that's only because her nymph can't relate those orders to her body. Effectively, she's been rendered brain dead. While Ingrid has a potential solution, she fears it may not be worth it. A memory wipe could erase the corruption, but without nymph to restore any basic knowledge, Marian would return to a state of infancy. Sure, a Nikke's nymph can be reinstalled, but trying that on a corrupted Nikke would be exceptionally dangerous. Thus, Ingrid wants the commander to decide whether Marian should get euthanized or mentally reverted to a newborn. Given what's happened in the past, the path forward is clear. The commander signs off on the neural wipe, agreeing to take Marian in as a member of Counters. Since she's a hybrid of Nikke and Rapture, he'll have to protect her from those who fear or otherwise seek to claim her. Like Indivilia or Material H, Chatterbox's dead remains are also kept within an Atlas cage. As a result of activating her Red Hood mode, Rapi's body severely overheats. It's a dangerous side effect, even after using up the squad's entire stock of coolant. Still, Rapi doesn't want us worrying about her, nor does she want to elaborate on what exactly it was she did. Refusing to be anywhere else when Marian's procedure is done, the commander returns to the outpost, even though it means hauling his bed and medical equipment along. As a safety precaution, the Counters agree to take turns watching over him at night. Come morning, he wakes up to find all three of them asleep at his bedside. Before long, Marian returns from her neural wipe. Sure enough, she has the mental acuity of a toddler, not even able to speak yet. Despite this, she immediately hugs us and declares the word "Commander." The memory wipe should have been comprehensive, but she still appears to remember the commander and her own name. It's almost like these things have been engraved upon her soul. Scientifically, she shouldn't remember anything, so we're left pondering this small miracle. For everything else, we've got to teach her from scratch, including how underwear is supposed to be worn on the inside. Fortunately, her brain is already developed, so she can pick up things faster than an actual child. Before heading back to the Ark proper, Ingrid asks Rapi about her recent Red Hood activation. Specifically, she asks if Red Hood has said anything. According to Rapi, it's the same thing Red Hood always says: destroy the Ark. Oh shit. This is roughly when the event First Affection takes place. It chronicles how difficult it is raising Marian. Just as a child might, she dives into a cesspool created by a broken pipe at the outpost. The commander has to pick her up from the ACPU, or police station, after people complain about her stench. It's just that an actual baby wouldn't be able to rip through the bars of her cell. This may just be an event, but it's also an ideal time to introduce the Nikkes from the ACPU, a police organization established to maintain public order. Unlike Triangle, who act as an anti-terrorism unit, these guys are more like your typical cops, albeit quite a bit sillier. Just like Triangle though, the ACPU Nikkes need to conceal their true identities, as Nikke-phobic pricks wouldn't readily obey them otherwise. The most competent of the bunch is Poli, an adorable girl who resembles a puppy. She may not like being seen as such, but she can literally sniff out clues and loves being pet. Both her name and temperament are ironic given her previous life as a human. In the same profession, she set out to investigate Ingrid's pet dog, also named Poli, who'd been kidnapped for gene splicing experiments. Tragically, the dog's captors strapped a bomb to it, hoping to kill Ingrid in the explosion. Instead, Poli gave her life saving Elysian's CEO. Her current body possesses canine instincts, which makes her suspect she's some kind of Nikke animal hybrid when stumbling on the dog's case file. Poli remembers most of her human life, except for the time surrounding her death. Thus, she can't help but mistake the dog's file for her own identity. Rather than clear up this misconception by going straight to Ingrid, Poli follows up on rumors of scientists who once attempted to make Nikkes from animal brains. This inadvertently leads her to apprehending the criminals responsible for her own death. With the gene splicing case handled, Poli is relieved to know she's not actually part dog and lets the commander resume petting her. Ingrid, however, messages the commander, informing him that it's not impossible that some of her dog's DNA got mixed in when Poli was made into a Nikke. Whether that's true, or Poli just has a strong mental association with puppers, remains shrouded in mystery. Miranda happens to be a dedicated officer who means well, but is a total klutz on the job. Despite handling the ACPU's easiest duties, she struggles directing traffic and searching for lost children. Nonetheless, she's beloved by the public for her hard work and optimistic mindset. Much like Neon, she's an ACPU inspector meant to report on the squad's activities, but everyone already knows her secret. Her superiors planted her to audit the police, but now worry she's become a burden to them. With her internal investigation called off, Miranda's supposed to quit her job, but she's come to love it too much. Thus, she seeks the commander's help in proving she can still perform her duties. He follows her around with a camera, hoping to document her success, only to repeatedly stop recording when things go south. Miranda accidentally sends this footage to a journalist, who uses it to implicate the police of concealing a bomb threat. Despite the bad press, Miranda tracks down this bomb and even plans to sacrifice herself to suppress its explosion. Instead, the commander helps her disarm it. Even though Miranda joined the force on false pretenses, as a spy from the central government, Poli assures her that she's truly acclimated to the position. Her mistakes aren't as easily dismissed anymore, but it's a sign that her co-workers accept her. Later on, her desire to uphold justice goes beyond her job as a police officer, with her joining an altruistic band of phantom thieves. Even though the ACPU considers these thieves criminals to apprehend, Miranda believes in their cause, living a double life following her ideals. If you think Miranda's a mess, get a load of the ACPU's newest recruit, Quiry. She's a Nikke whose strong body is coupled with visual impairment. She's blind as a bat, yet somehow comes in handy on occasion, noticing things most people don't because they shine. Her specialty lies with administrative tasks, and her love of petting fluffy things makes her surprisingly compatible with her colleagues. Comedic hijinks ensue when Quiry leaves the police station and begins misidentifying things, accidentally talking to streetlights, and observing breadcrumbs thinking they're bugs. Still, even with such a debilitating flaw, Quiry makes other valuable contributions to the police force. I suppose on the plus side, out of everyone she knows, the commander has a distinct shine she can always recognize. Back at the dorm, the counters give their all showering Marian down, only for her to leap out without any clothes on. Since her own outfit reeks and needs to be washed, Marian dresses in one of the commander's white shirts. It doesn't provide enough coverage, but it's the only thing she'll wear since it smells like the commander, and she won't fit into her squad mates' clothes. Frustrated, the counters admit defeat, asking their commander to at least procure a doll she can hold onto as extra coverage. This leads us to Belorta and Mica, Nikkes of the heavy artillery squad Carronades, who also run a toy store in the Ark. Again, this might just be my only chance to talk about them. Belorta is the squad's leader. She loves food and playing pranks. She's so fond of the latter that she's been rejected by various commanders who can't handle her tricks. As for the former, she's such an avid eater that she'll snack during combat. Part of her antics stem from a hatred for authority figures. Other times she's just innocent, enjoying the spectacle of fireworks. Her young body masks her real age, but it doesn't matter since she refuses to grow up. Tragically, this stems from her past. She and her best friend Mica were humans living at the Angel Orphanage I mentioned back with Ludmilla. Back then, Belorta was fatally ill from some kind of stomach issue. Christmas Day was supposed to be an important charity event for the orphanage, but for Belorta, it was the day she got beaten to death by abusive caretakers. Even as a Nikke, she still seems cursed by the Yuletide festival, always getting injured and spending the night at the repair center. It sucks, because she adores the holiday and its flashy splendor. She tends to override her sorrows and misfortune with comic mischief, and loves the commander's willingness to entertain her. Sometimes she takes things too far, but even if her pranks injure him, he forgives her. He'll prank her back, but his tricks are all sweet and wholesome, prompting her to kiss him. Belorta considers him a true adult, which I assume means he's actually responsible, protective, and nurturing, unlike the people who abused her. Poor Mica also suffered abuse at the Angel Orphanage. That sad Christmas had Mica holding a dying Belorta in her arms. It's no surprise how she worries about Belorta, even with their new bodies. She isn't the type to just joke her traumas away, and rather than enjoy the holidays, Mica dreads them. Even though she isn't a fan of Belorta's pranks, she humors them to create a positive experience. After all, she's afraid of strangers, and admires Belorta as one of the few people she can trust. In contrast to her friend, Mica actually wants to grow up and embrace maturity, in part to protect those she cares about. To do that, she needs to overcome her insecurities, such as the jealousy she feels when Belorta makes the commander her new prank target. After actually meeting with him, she begins to understand why Belorta likes him so much. He's able to show her the warm side of humanity, as opposed to the cold she's been experiencing for far too long. Mica also has to overcome her separation anxiety, specifically her desire to follow along should Belorta ever die. Sometimes, being apart is necessary to form a closer bond. Overall, she wants Belorta to live a long life full of freedom, fun, and food. Of course, Belorta wants the same for Mica, and teases her in an attempt to make her more independent. The commander helps these girls be more honest about their feelings, and Mica kisses him on the cheek as thanks. At the toy store, Marian's greatest obsession is the commander, so he asks if there are any dolls that look similar to him. Oddly enough, they do. Turns out the commander's popular, and someone commissioned the toy store to make dolls in his likeness. Conveniently, they have a display model they hand over. Marian loves it, of course, but Anise is jealous because she was a backer on that commission. Neon has an uncanny ability to jinx things, suggesting it would be awkward for us to get a mission while Marian's barely dressed. Right on cue, we are mobilized and have no choice but to take her along. Now, Marian may have restarted from a blank slate, but as the child of a combat squad, she picks up fighting surprisingly fast. Like other heretics, her body has been modified by the raptures, making her stronger than ever. Since she's on our side, though, destroying raptures earns her our praise, which motivates her. The only thing that bothers her seems to be getting her clothes dirty. Not because it's gross, but because they no longer smell like the commander. Luckily, that's an easy problem to solve. Technically, the first affection event continues on, as most of it is actually a flashback. I want to try and keep things in better chronology than the game itself, which loves to jump back and forth. Thus, I'll be revisiting this event in the next video.
Hey guys, Dai-chan here, which means it's time for some spoiler content. If you happen to be playing this game for the first time, you might be wondering how the hell Marian was able to resist being a heretic. For a brief period, she was actually cured, even though our Vaphaus bullet never actually hit her. It's easy to get caught up in the heat of the moment, but if you stop to note the order of events, later revelations make this clear. Long story short, both the commander and Andersen have a rare blood type called RHX, which can be used to synthesize Vaphaus. Nikkes who come into contact with this blood suffer unpredictable side effects, occasionally including the destruction of their nymph. While our bullet didn't work, Marian still ingested our blood when stabbing us. Shortly after that, she came to her senses. Unfortunately, this doesn't always work, as there are cases where the commander's blood actually empowers heretics rather than cures them. It's always a risk for Nikkes, which is one reason Andersen steps in and handles the blood transfusion privately. The other reason, of course, is for their protection. If the public knew about Vaphaus and how to make it with their blood, both Andersen and the commander would be in danger. They'd become lab rats, sucked dry for experimentation. Looking back, I wouldn't be surprised if Andersen's blood were used to make Vaphaus bullets in the past. The one we shot at Marian may have been his creation long ago. I suppose there could have been other candidates over the past 100 years, but none have been introduced thus far. While we know much of Andersen's work as a commander for the Goddess Squad, this particular part of his past has yet to be fleshed out. Next, let's talk about Rapi's Red Hood mode. I already spoiled in a previous video that Rapi's body and mind were greatly influenced by her time with Red Hood. She's got two cores, her own and the one she absorbed from Red Hood. Given how Red was an incredibly powerful Grimm's model, tapping into this second core lets Rapi fight in overdrive. It's very helpful, but isn't without its downsides. For one, it causes her to overheat like crazy. Not very energy efficient. Even worse is that borrowing Red Hood's power means relying on Red Hood's ego. In other words, Rapi sacrifices her own sense of identity and risks transforming into her beloved role model. Their two psyches wind up battling each other for control of the body. Even when Rapi isn't taken over by Red, she can still hear Red's voice calling out, ordering her to destroy the Ark. It's a subconscious demand, as Red Hood doesn't even remember why she'd say that. Still, deep down, some part of her remembers discovering the Ark's greatest secret, its power source. The idea that the Ark is entirely self-sufficient is a lie. In its deepest depths rests a massive rapture core that keeps things running. It's directly connected to another giant core buried elsewhere on the surface. Should either core be destroyed, the other will shut down as well. Functionally speaking, one might consider the Ark some kind of giant rapture. To that end, destroying the raptures in their entirety means abandoning the very home humanity's cherished for 100 years. It's rather unsettling, but at least works out, given how humanity will no longer need the Ark if raptures aren't around. Certain figures in the central government already know about the Ark's power supply and work to keep it a secret. Nikkes who figure out the truth, such as Elig, are at risk of having their memories wiped. Lastly, I may be getting ahead of myself, but while Marian is more than willing to fight for the commander, she questions whether raptures truly need to die for humanity to survive. As she awakens to her queen gene, Marian realizes she'd rather not have to kill anyone, human, Nikke, or rapture. If someone like her takes over as the rapture's queen, she hopes to establish a world where all of them can get along with love and harmony. The roots of her desire are already being planted this early on. Anyway, our precious time with Marian is about to come to a close during Chapter 14. After laying that groundwork, we'll be stepping back in time to flesh out the original Goddess Squad. It's super exciting. As always, be sure to follow this series' playlist on my channel page or at the end credits. Until next time, celebrate your fandom!
I want to give a special shout out to all my $10 and up supporters. Video Gamer 75, Dante Pendragon, Stephen Elak, Mystic Samurai 1983, Otaku Mom, Freebrick, Alexis Yukio Gomez Yamato, Lunar Works, Link Pendrago, Observer Bellis, James Hewitt, Uncanny EXP, Crow Calum, Saul Soto, Major, Matal Mataru, Winter's Edge, Sneer Cachette, Sunbro Torian, Foxbox, Alzinga Falgon, Caitlin P, Sith Lord 906, Vladimirovna, The Taz 96, Kengo X77, and Alistair Bernadotte. Thank you all so much.